Shalom, Shalum, family. Whew. Shamka Sakuh. This is Yum 6, day 6. I hadn't been able to really put anything up on 3, 4, or 5, and really barely squeezing this in. Just been really busy. Because I realized, it's okay. We should be working on day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should always be working heartily unto Yahuah on all the days that we are allowed to work and trust and believe like I need to. And Abba gave us such favor. We had one shop order. My boy was working with me, getting some experience. And that thing was close to $700. And so, we got paid like $120 to shop. Now, it took 2 carts. It was a lot of work. But it was a favored day. That day, I think we got up to like 200. And we really need the help right now because I'm not out hauling. Not able to be out hauling. That's been a struggle. The very first month, I only able to work half the days because of just logistics, orientation and outfitting my truck. And then July was they say it's the slowest month. And then August, I brought 10,000 after fuel, which is very expensive, the fuel. Now the truck needs glow plugs. One place quoted me like about $1,350 on it, and another place back in Indiana about $750. So obviously I'm very filled with thanks to have the cheaper alternative because those people have worked on my truck. And even though some people have been like, oh, don't ever go there, I haven't had any issues, so I'm not sure. I'm just gonna trust on Abba's cover, and I'm feeling his cover a lot. Even right now, I'm under a lot of pressure to hit a time frame, and he's allowing things to fall into place as he does. I've had a lot of anxiety, and I'm seeking that salah, that rest, that breath, Shalom, and his gil and his hasad, and it's just everything's ramped up and escalated. I feel the stuff that the enemy is doing, wearing us out, just flooding the zone, as they say, with all these updates and with all this information. A couple things I wanted to talk about while I do have about 20 minutes here, possibly. One is regarding Gaza and Hamas. Like I have said in my videos that pretty much people don't watch, but let me just get this out. Abba puts these things on my heart. It's not possible for that group to meet the requirements that Trump and Netanyahu put on their plan, their board of peace plan, and the whole thing, because they're really just a front organization that's actually a mask. Behind that mask is a military intelligence organization, such as what's the one they got in Britain, like MI5, and then they got the CIA, and they got Mossad, and they got these agencies. Okay, the monsters, the scarecrows, the boogeymans, whatever that they prop up so that they can orchestrate all their plannings, can't really do the things that they're saying that they want them to do unless the agencies that are behind the facade do it. So they have complete control. So they can manipulate this puppet, actors on the world stage however they want, however they see fit. So I can't say that they won't do it as far as how it appears on the world stage that they return, say, the hostages, okay? The powers that be might ordain that it looks like Hamas is completed the first requirement and moving on to the next one. It may or it may not. Either way, you can see that Trump is basically like, yeah, if they blow it this time, do whatever you need to do. Just do whatever you need to do, right? Enough is enough. Remember that? I've also said that I had the dream that was the tracks like of a tank crushing the skulls and the bones, and it was about 2 years ago, and it felt very immediate, and it's not proven to be immediate, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen or not relevant. So they bombarded the place and obliterated it, as Trump would say, right? But now they're actually going to go in and just bulldoze the whole thing. Maybe it has to do with construction, like that bulldozer down there, that track hoe. You know, that type of construction equipment going, maybe. It's crazy. It's crazy deep, right? Because those that say that they're Yashar'Al but do lie also market themselves in AI, intelligence, spying apparatus, and they market these things to different kings all over the entire world. And this is almost a way for them to showcase their products, to put them into use, and then to show how effective they are in all this. And it's heartbreaking. So that was one thing. I believe that they're creating the situation where they can justify doing whatever the next phase of their thing is. That we talked about the turning point in USA, talked about how they made mention of an invasion and American hostages, and all that stuff is still very much on the table. That's why I'm like constantly watching, feeling all the intensity of how escalated everything is. Plus, when I come out here and I work, it's spiritually exhausting, because I do notice a transformation in the masses and in the people. I do see increased evil in the land. I do see, you know, whatever you want to call it, man, hearts grown cold, people lovers of themselves. I see NPCs, I see drones, I see, you know, like zombies, like Walking Dead, all that. It is what it is. Technology acting fritzy all the time. It's coming soon that it will just fail. I don't know exactly when. I just know that these things are right pounding and banging on the door. All right, I want to talk about something else. I saw a post by someone, I don't know if I should even mention the name. I'll just mention it because it's public, right? It's called Yahusha's Apprentice on YouTube. And this is not like my enemy or anything like that. I believe that Yahusha's Apprentice also affirms that Yahuwah is Yahusha. At least that was my understanding. Maybe that changed. I don't know. Some people are changing their minds and stuff like that. Hold up. I want to leave a gap in case that person is able to get through. I have been saying that people keep saying that Yom Kippur is about fasting from food, abstaining from food, but the word that's used is anah, and it is the bowing down and humbling of our souls. Okay? So, I gotta go. So, I let one person through, then a bunch were wondering. I can't do that. Losing my train of thought, sorry. He raised a great question, but first he made a post and he was concerned that people are saying how you don't fast or that you should not fast. Okay, here's the thing. I see the instruction that's there, an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. Okay, it's there and it's in other places too, like all 7 days of unleavened bread, Shabuah or Pasach, or also Pasach, Shabuah, and Sakuh, all 7 days of Sakuh. Actually, 8, right? So I think there's probably other places. I'm always like looking to see, okay, like what do we have? Qadash Assembly, Blow the Shupar, offering made by fire unto Yahuah, no servile work, those types of things usually are placed apart moedims. And in basically Exodus 34 and Deuteronomy 16 says, and I'm going to summarize, these 3 times a year, every male in Yashar'Al shall present themselves before Yahuah with an offering. Okay, that's part of this in my understanding. Some people think that you're supposed, all the animal sacrifices are just burnt, you just burn it all up, but I don't see that in the scriptures. I see that we actually partake. We build altars of earth and stones. We have fire. Kadash meat is roasted as a sweet aroma unto Yahuah, and that our hearts being in the right place is the main thing about what's really pleasing to him, is not just like the letter of the law, but the ruach and amath, the spirit and truth that we are exhibiting behind that thing. So I don't believe that the Father's going to tell you to abstain from food at the same time that he tells you to roast meat. Okay, well, in order for them to make their theory about the fasting work, they have to do away with the whole an offering made by fire, that you partake of it. That's why that certain group that's over there in the land that say that they're the people but do lie, push these types of things, and then former extant people just adopt those types of traditions and teachings, and it drives me nuts. Stop following after known liars who deny Yahusha, who twist the scriptures, adding to and taking away and all these things. That's why a lot of the literature and the books that we have about the scriptures are unreliable, because they also control the publications and all that. And people who think that that's a conspiracy theory are not able to see beyond the veil of the deception. They're just not. And it drives me nuts. And sometimes they're the ones that other people listen to the most, because they think they have like credentials and teaching and learning and all this. See, I think that Yahuah is going to raise up by his Ruach elders, males of understanding, who are walking in the way, who didn't go through academic institutional learning to understand the scriptures, because that's where the deceptions are. They put the names of foreign mighty ones all in the books. They put curses. They added vowel points. They changed words and definitions of words by using the vowel points. I've already shown this. I've already proven this. There's example after example. Okay, so Yahusha's apprentice raised a very great question, because in Jubilees, Jubileem chapter 50, it says that it is S-I-N to fast on the Shabbat. So he wants to throw that book out, because Masha fasted 40 days and Yahusha fasted 40 days, and that would make them guilty of some sort of crime. Now, there's some people who say, oh, they're beyond that because it's a special calling and because of who Yahusha is and stuff like that. No, that wouldn't be the case. Yahusha would be completing the commandments in every way as we do as well. It's walking in Torah as a temporal example of perfection that we're supposed to be striving for and esteeming for, but we fall short, right? Okay, so much to unpack here, and I'm trying to squeeze it all in. So I said, hey, don't you think it's interesting that we don't have a concordance or lexicon or the original letters for Enoch and Jubilees, which were found in the caves of Qumran? Why would the publications not sell us concordance of Enoch and concordance of Jubilees? They surely have the letters. They've already done all that. The letters, the words, they know all that, right? Because they're the experts, the Yiddish, whatever. They could call it Hebrew too. Hebrew is a Latin word from the 17th century. The letters that in the scripture says we're abrim, and that the language is abrith. Okay? Those are the names. Latin kings don't name us. Do you know the origins of Latin? Unclean. English, unclean. Greek, unclean. So much is unclean about that. Why would we be going back to drink from that cup? The cups of known liars. No. 3 times they wrote the word Sabbath for the Shabbaton. Okay, there's a Shabbat and there's a Shabbaton, and there's a difference and there's a distinction, and they just give the same word, just like they did with Kindle. I found 5 different Abrith words that they wrote in English as Kindle. That's to cause confusion. Guarantee you. They don't want you knowing about the feasting of Yahuah. It's these 3 Moedim are placed apart 3 times a year. Every male of Yashar'Al shall present himself before Yahuah with an offering. Okay? Like I said, that's in Exodus 34 and Deuteronomy 16. You can go look it up. So that verse in Jubileem 50, I believe, is not referring to the 7th day, but those feasts. Because it would be hatah for any man to say, oh, I know it's required 3 times a year that I present myself before Yahuah with my offering, my meat offering, an offering made by fire. Okay, but I'm fasting right now, so I don't have to do it. Okay, no, that would be unclean to do that. I don't believe that Yahusha or Masha were fasting at those appointed Moedims. Did they fast long enough that it stretched over multiple 7th days? Yeah, I believe so. Shaul was on a ship sailing. It also says that on there about traveling on a ship, but this is the beginning of journey, embarking out on a journey. I think the same thing, the reference is there about the war. It says making war. So we have to be careful because a lot of this is based on English that we don't even see the original letters for. So we're going to trust that the translators haven't. You think that the lying scribes got rebuked like that from Yahusha, but they didn't lie about this. They only lied about everything else, but not this, right? We've caught them in their lies already. And if I could actually have the time to go study that, I would find a lot more. But I'm working all the time. Because guess what? I'm a husband. I'm a father. These males that are out here producing video content that's so like edited and fine-tuned and they got big followings, I would be very cautious about that. I would be very cautious about that. We've already seen a lot of those are usurpers, surplanters, fakes. Yeah. And there are a lot of those. So be very, very vigilant and be very, very cautious. My opinion is that Yom Kippur is one of the most beauty-filled feasts of Yahuah. It shows that the day begins at the dawn very clearly. It's about Anah. Bow down your soul. I'm unworthy. I'm a lawbreaker. I'm a criminal. I want to, listen, where did it come from? Where did it originate? See, they throw out Jubileem because of one word. You threw out 50 chapters of witness because of one word. Sabbath. You've already seen them misappropriated 3 different times in canon. How much more do you think they did that? Anyway. The sons of Yashar'Al were jealous of Yosef. They conspired to unalive him, bro. Okay, one of the brothers was like, hey, let's not do that. Let's sell him to listen to this. Yasham'al. Yasham'al. They say Ishmael, okay, or Mishmael. First of all, it's no L, it's unclean, form mighty one. E-L, form mighty one. No I in a breath. The first letter is Yod, Y. Yashama, hear, listen. Elohim hears. Ishmael, right? Okay, so Yosef sold Yashmael. You know the whole story about Joseph in Egypt and everything like that. Okay. When the father got the news, he said, surely some wild beast had devoured my son. They took his coat of many colors and they put the blood on it. Okay. They were so bent up in their guilt that they had deceived their father, who wept for like a year. Bilhah died in her sorrow, and Dinah also. 3 lost at that time. That's why it became a memorial that on the 10th day of the 7th month, they're basically weeping for their hatah. You know how much people I see out here all proud about, oh, I'm fasting. Man, you keep that between you and Yahuwah. Ain't nobody need to be all up in there hearing about your fastings, okay? Unless an elder calls for a fast in his assembly, a tribe, whatever, that's private stuff. Individual stuff, man. You know, don't be going in and dirtying up your face, looking all sunken in on your cheeks, and you get your reward already coming online and being like, oh, I fasted for this long, and well, how are you breaking your fast? What are you having to break your fast? That's why I like that we would take and share some kind of chata or crime that we're wrestling with, that we're struggling with, and we confess it before each other and before Yahuwah, and we want to give it over to him. We just write it down and put it and burn it. This time we did it orally. Okay, I think that's well. It really is a time to think about Yahusha's atonement, sacrifice blood for you, how unworthy that you are to receive it, so that you can really appreciate it 100%, 100,000%, bro. Get out of the flesh. This isn't just about abstaining from food. Come on, man. Anyway, Yahuwah doesn't sit there and tell you to have an offering made by fire and then to fast it in the same day. Don't make no sense. Okay? How do they make that make sense? Oh, because they go, oh, that's a burnt offering. That's done away with. If you go back and if you see, they got to get rid of Yubalim too then, right? Because that tells you that they had like 2 lambs. I'm going off memory, so forgive me if I make a mistake. I'm just doing the best I can. I think it was like two lambs, 2 goats. They don't just take them and just burn them all up, right? Taking first fruits, 2 loaves. You just burn it up, or do you prepare it and eat it giving thanks? Think about this. Think about vanity of vanities. Everything is vanity, right? Except for what? Except for to eat and to drink with your family and give thanks unto Yahuwah. This is the hugest part of the way. It's a very huge part of everything that we do. All of our Moedim and calendars based on seed planting and harvesting, sowing and reaping, okay? Hunting and gathering, okay? Don't be reliant on the bee system and stuff like that. And how to have things to eat that are clean, that are not so easily defiled by the enemy. Yeah, I think I just said a lot, and I tried to squeeze a lot in there. There's so much more going on. There's so much more going on all the time. I'm feeling tugged to talk about things, and I just don't get to. I don't get a chance to. I did put a post out recently. The letters for Edom and Edomites, okay, E-D-O-M, they don't exist. What's written is Aleph Dalet Mam, which is the same as Adam and Eve. A-D-A-M. Okay? So the wicked Edomites, could those be the ones that are still walking in the flesh, doing what's right in their own eyes, being an authority unto themselves, not following the instructions of Yahusha, the commandments, guarding the commandments? How do we know one another? We know one another by our fruits. It's not by our skin colors. It's not by our bloodlines. It's really by our Ruh, by the Ruach. And so anyway, I'll probably leave a bunch of stuff out, and I'm sorry, just kind of doing the best I can to squeeze this in because I have a long delivery. I'm very close to my delivery, just a few moments away, so I'm going to wrap up right now. So may Ava Barak you in your house in his Qadashayam Bahashamal Kol Shamut Yahusha HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Rumamu Yahuah. Shalom, shalom, family. Oy.